Today, we're diving into the absolutely incredible rags to riches story of Lee Trevino, a man who literally went from a shack in Texas to the very pinnacle of the golf world.
It's a question you've got to ask, right? How does somebody who starts with every possible disadvantage climb all the way to the top and become one of the best in the world? Well, Lee Trevino's life gives us a powerful and seriously entertaining answer.
So let's get right into it and start at the very beginning to understand what made him the champion he became.
To really get who Lee Trevino was, we have to go way back, to a world that was a million miles away from the perfect green fairways and cheering crowds he would one day command. This is where that famous grit and determination were forged.
I mean, the challenges he faced were immense, right from the very start. Born into deep poverty in 1939, he had to leave school at just 14 years old to help his family make ends meet. But it was on the golf course, working as a caddy, that he found his calling, a love for the game that he even took with him when he joined the U.S. Marine Corps. And here's the thing that's just amazing. Trevino was completely self-taught. With zero money for fancy lessons or equipment, he just practiced and practiced and practiced. This led him to develop this unique, kind of homemade swing that just baffled the pros. I mean, in an era of picture-perfect textbook swings, his style was a total shock to the system. But hey, you couldn't argue with the results. It was pure, raw talent forged by sheer will.
So you have this guy with this unusual swing, working as a club pro and hustling in money games just to get by, and all of that led to a single moment that would change his life and the entire golf world forever. Seriously, just try to picture the scene. This unknown guy, a former hustler, walks onto one of golf's biggest stages and wins the whole thing. The entire golf establishment was just stunned. In an instant, Lee Trevino went from a complete nobody to a major champion. And that shocking win? Oh, that was just the beginning. It was the very first of, get this, six major championships that he would go on to win throughout his amazing career. And he proved he was no one-hit wonder. He showed up and won on the world's biggest stages, grabbing 2 U.S. Opens, 2 Open Championships, and 2 PGA Championships. That's all part of an incredible 29 PGA Tour victories. But you know, his story is about so much more than just the trophies on his shelf. It's about a one-of-a-kind personality and a resilience that was tested in the most dramatic way you can possibly imagine.
On the course, he was an absolute bulldog, a fierce competitor who famously stared down the legend himself, Jack Nicklaus, in a grueling U.S. Open playoff in 1971. But the second the shot was over, he'd transform into the Merry Mex, this charismatic showman, cracking jokes with the crowd, with his opponents, everyone. People didn't just love his game, they loved him.
And then, right at the peak of his fame, the unthinkable happened. It sounds like something out of a wild movie, but it was terrifyingly real, and it almost cost him absolutely everything.
So here's what went down. He was in a tournament when he and another golfer were actually struck by lightning. He suffered serious injuries, including back problems that would bother him for years. A lot of people thought that's it, his career's over. But in just an incredible display of pure grit, he recovered and came back to win again.
So when you look back at his entire career, what's the real legacy he leaves behind? Well, it's about so much more than just having a great golf swing.
His whole life story is basically a masterclass in overcoming whatever life throws at you.
He is living proof that where you start in life doesn't have to be where you end up. Ultimately, he's remembered for 2 big things. First, as a great champion. I mean, the stats speak for themselves. And second, as a great entertainer. He was one of the most beloved personalities, not just in golf, but in all of sports history. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Lee Trevino had both in spades, but it makes you wonder, for any great figure, what truly defines their legacy? The incredible achievements or the inspiration and joy they bring? With Trevino, the answer is pretty clear. You don't have to choose. The two are one and the same.